It starts off as a whisper, and then it gets to the point where life hits you on the head as a huge wake up call. You never want to get to that point where life has to literally whack you on the head for you to wake up. The pain of regret is so much worse than the pain of trying and seeing where things go. Even if it doesn't work out the way you thought it would work out, it doesn't matter. You learn something in the process, in the journey. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Confident and Killing It podcast. As always, it's your host, Tiwalola, and I am here to wake you up to your worth so you can be confident, unstoppable, and dare to live the life that you truly desire. I know you are ambitious and you have big goals and big dreams, but sometimes the size of your confidence doesn't quite match your big ambitious goals. So I am here to help you level up your confidence so you can be everything you want to be and more. So let's get into it. I'm back after 4 months of taking a break. Thank you all so much for checking in, for still listening. The numbers are still going up every week, which is so beautiful to see. I'm going to give you the tea. I'm going to give you the lowdown of where I am, what's been going on. But I'm good. I'm well. I'm healthy, but yeah, life was definitely lifing, and yeah, I want to share all about it with you. Today's episode is 5 signs that you have outgrown something and what you can do about it. Okay. And that is kind of reference to where I've been, what I've been going through. So at the start of 2025, I said to myself that this year was going to be my year of being bold. Okay. I felt like I had been playing small, I had been in my comfort zone, and 2025 was the year that I was going to go bigger and better, bigger events, bigger brands, just everything bigger and better. And the exact opposite happened, actually. My act of boldness wasn't doing more, wasn't being everywhere, wasn't being more visible. My act of boldness was actually disappearing for 4 months. Okay. And I always thought boldness was doing more, but this year has actually taught me to redefine boldness because it was scary to take a step back. It was scary to disappear for 4 months, because I was thinking, what if I don't figure what I need to figure out in this break? How long is it going to take? What if I, lose my community whilst I'm gone? There's so many things that were valid fears. So boldness isn't always doing more. Sometimes boldness is letting go. Sometimes boldness is walking away from everything that you know and going down a different path. Now, what prompted me to take this radical act of boldness to actually do nothing and stop everything that I was doing and let go was because I was reflecting on my business. As you know, I've been 5 years running Confident and Killing It full time in entrepreneurship. And who I was 5 years ago is not who I am today. I've changed, I've gotten married, I've grown, life is different, life is more dynamic, but my business hasn't changed. I've been running my business the same way. Obviously, I've been growing. Obviously, I've tested new things, I've tried new things, but essentially, I've been running my business the same way for the past 5 years. It just wasn't working out for me anymore. And so I had to make the tough decision to pause everything so that I could rethink to gain clarity and re strategize. We're going into a new season. September is always back to school energy. Q4 is coming up. We're going into a new season, and you might be feeling a little bit restless. You might be feeling a little bit drained. You might be feeling like the walls are closing in on you. So, if that's you right now, then this episode is really for you because I'm going to be sharing signs that you have outgrown something, signs that something is no longer in alignment with who you are or who you want to be, and how you can manage the situation. Because there is nothing worse than staying in a place that you have outgrown. There's nothing worse than staying in a place that there is no longer alignment with your values, with your vision, with your goals, all of those things are important. So I'm going to get into what the 5 tips are and also share some practical ways that you can process this feeling of outgrowing something. And it could be outgrowing a relationship, it could be outgrowing a job, it could be outgrowing a business. When you see the signs, you'll be able to apply it to your life to see if there's any area of your life that you've actually outgrown, but you just didn't know it yet. So the first sign that you've outgrown something is your energy. Your energy often feels drained. Your energy often feels kind of dull instead of the work that you're doing or the environment that you're in. Instead of it energizing you, you notice that it always drains your energy. There's also a sense of restlessness because are no longer motivated, you feel drained, and so then you're beginning to procrastinate. But it's not because you're lazy or you don't believe in yourself. It's not because of that. It's simply because your energy is being drained. And so when your energy is being drained, you don't have the motivation to do things that you usually could do. What used to feel really light and energetic now feels like a burden, now feels very heavy, and you're often drained. Instead of being stretched by what you're doing, it's like energy is constantly leaving your body. And that's how I felt, at the start of the year when I was working. And I just felt like this used to excite me, but now this is causing burnout, right? This business that I created to impact people, that was um, setting my heart on fire, is now causing cycles of burnout. So that's a sign that you've outgrown something in that capacity. Something that used to energize you now drains you. Okay, that's a sign that there's misalignment in that area. And when this thing used to empower you and excite you, you felt a sense of passion, you felt a sense of purpose. But now that sense of passion and purpose is gone, and you're just doing it out of obligation. You're doing it because you have to, you're doing it because that's the way the setup is, rather than doing it because you feel alive and excited to do it. The success doesn't feel the same anymore. So if this is a business, right, then it's likely that, you're achieving milestones in the business, or even at work, you're achieving the milestones, but it just feels like, okay, cool, whatever, right? It doesn't feel like that sense of fulfillment is completely gone. So, number one, your energy levels. What used to energize you and excite you is now something that drains you. Okay, that's a sign that you've outgrown a certain area or place. The second sign that you have outgrown something is that you are not learning, you are not growing, you don't feel challenged anymore. You often look around and you're just like, is this it? Like, is this what the rest of my life is going to look like? Just showing up every day to do this, right? You can't carve out time to learn and grow and challenge yourself. Like the work that you're doing, the environment you're in, it almost feels like just a tick box exercise. It's not growing you, it's not challenging you, it's not stretching you. It's, you almost feel like you've hit a ceiling and something in you is like, I need more out of life. But when you look around, there aren't opportunities for you to do more. That's a sign that you've outgrown where you are. Now, we say routines are good, but when everything feels like a routine and there's no room for experimentation, there's no room for trying new things, that's a sign that you've really outgrown the environment that you're in. So when it comes to, relationships, right? The relationships that you're in, the people should make you want to be a better person. They should make you grow. They should make you think about your future, the bigger picture, right? If you're in a relationship or in an environment where you're just comfortable, it's a sign you've outgrown that environment, because there's your comfort zone and there's your stretch zone and then there's your stress zone. Okay. So if you are in your comfort zone, you're just kind of coasting, you're just kind of on autopilot. You know the routine, you know the environment, you've mastered the skill, you've mastered the people, and you're just kind of there existing rather than taking steps, moving, growing, and leveling up your life. So you never want to just be in your comfort zone, because nothing great happens in the comfort zone. Instead, you want to be in your stretch zone. Okay. So a sign you've outgrown something is that, as the word says, you're no longer growing, you're no longer learning. Everything just feels like autopilot. Everything just feels like rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And there's no space for innovation and growth. Another reason why I had to take the break was because I felt like I was giving, and I was just saying the same things over and over again, saying the same advice, talking about the same things over and over again. I hadn't carved out space to learn new information. I hadn't carved out space to learn new frameworks and mindsets and important things that could help me think better about the work that I do as a coach. I hadn't taken out time to do that. All I was doing was giving. And it just felt like I was repeating the same sort of advice over again without bringing something new, something fresh, new perspectives. And I didn't like that, because that's not who I am. I want to bring new perspectives. I want to bring new ways of thinking about things and challenge, old mindset shifts. But it's very easy to just stay stuck in the same script, the same topics, and you already have reached a certain level. So you could just stay there. You already have all the information you need. You could just stay there. But that's not who I am. I don't want to be in my comfort zone. I want to be stretching. I want to be growing. I want to be innovating. So if you are finding that you're in your comfort zone, that's a sign that you have outgrown the environment that you're in, or the job or the business that you're in. The third point is that your values and visions might have evolved, but the thing has not evolved. And for me, this was, my life had evolved, my priorities had shifted. So I got married. Being a wife is a whole different ball game. Managing a household, right? Being in partnership with someone, just health, getting older, so many different things. My priorities had shifted. And getting older, I really value my health. After having crazy back pain, after having a damaged nerve, did I tell you about? I don't think I told you about my damaged nerve. Yeah, I literally had a damaged nerve because I twisted my neck in a weird way, in a season of where I had been working till 2 a.m. every day, and I was preparing for my TED talk. I was working super hard, and I was at my desk like this. I didn't have proper screens, I didn't have proper seats. I was at my desk, so my muscles were tight. My nervous system was already stressed. And then I moved in a weird way that sent a shiver all the way from my head down to the back through my spine. And then I found out I had pinched a nerve or damaged a nerve in my neck, and went on a whole journey to recover from that. But I'm telling you this because as I get older, my priorities have changed. I value my wellness more than ticking boxes. And if you remember the episode on being bamboozled by soft life, I made a promise to myself that it wasn't going to be my goals before my mental, physical, and emotional health. It would be my mental, physical, and emotional health first, my faith first, then the goals afterwards. And so I got to a point where I realized that who I was in my business was not who I was outside of my business. Like, my life had evolved and my business hadn't. And so instead of my business being something that elevated my true authentic self, it became something that was going against my true authentic self. It became something that was going against my value system, because I value health, I value creativity, I value innovation, I value my spirituality. And my business became something that was taking me away from my values. So you will know you've outgrown something when your values have changed and the situation that you're in or the thing that you're working on is no longer in alignment with your values. That's a big sign. You have to live in alignment with your values, because that is how you get true fulfillment. That is how you enter your zone of genius. when you are doing something that is not in alignment with your true authentic self, you feel like a fraud. That is where a lack of authenticity comes in. And you will always feel like your best self when you are living your authentic truth. Okay. You will always feel like your best self when you are living your authentic truth. And I started to see that my business and the way I had set things up. So, right now, when I talk about my business, I'm talking about the systems and the processes, or the lack of systems and processes, not the message. So, the mission of Confident and Killing It was still the same. It was still something that I was proud of, still something that I wanted to do. But the way I was doing it was hindering me more than it was supporting the vision and the goals. Okay. So you know you've outgrown something when the way that you're doing it no longer aligns with your true authentic self, when your values are no longer aligned with the people in that environment, for example, or with the things that you're doing in your job. If your values are not aligned with your job, you will feel unfulfilled. It's that simple. Don't be confused as to why you feel empty at work. It's not in alignment with your values. And we have to make sure that we create businesses, we do jobs, we surround ourselves with people that are aligned with our values. Now, if you don't know what your values are, there are resources on Confident and Killing It in the book to help you discover what your values are. But you have to think about what makes you come alive, what inspires you. You know, if you could be the president of a country for a day, what's the first thing you would change or enact? These things will give you insights into what you deeply care about. Your values are just about what you want to prioritize in life. So when your priorities no longer align with the environment that you're in or the work that you're doing, that's a sign that you've likely outgrown the environment. The fourth point is that you are shrinking to fit in. Okay, that is the next sign that you have outgrown what you're doing. When you have to dim your light, when you have to show up as a smaller version of yourself to make other people feel more comfortable, that is a sign that you have outgrown the environment that you're in. You should never dim your light to make other people feel more comfortable. You should not be doing that. If you have to be a fake version of yourself to fit into an environment, it means that environment is not right for you. You should always be showing up as your most powerful, authentic self. And you will know you're in the right environment when your power is appreciated, when your success and your power is celebrated. And that's why I love the Confident and Killing It community so much, because we celebrate your ambition, we celebrate your success. So if you are in a job where you have to play small to get by, that is not the right job for you. If you have friends that you need to pretend around or play small or dumb yourself down to be around, those are not the right friends for you. So pay attention to how you are acting in those environments. The opposite of playing small is not being the loudest and obnoxious and, taking up space and not allowing anybody to thrive. No, there's a difference between being confident and arrogant, okay? Confident people, they know that there's enough space for everyone to succeed, for everyone to thrive. And so when they show up, they do it in a way where they encourage other people to show up as well. When you are an arrogant person, you want to make other people feel smaller so that you can feel better about yourself. Okay, that's not what we're doing here. If you have to shrink so that other people can feel better, that's not helpful. You never want to dim your light to sit in darkness with somebody else. Instead, you want to shine your light. You want to lift them up, right? And you want to be in environments where you can shine bright, that it inspires other people to also take action. So yeah, you're not speaking your truth, you're shrinking, you're playing small. These are all signs that you have outgrown the environment that you're in. And the last point when it comes to a sign that you have outgrown something is your intuition, your body, right? There is going to be a whisper, right, inside of you, letting you know it's time to go. And this is what happened to me when I quit my full-time job. My body was telling me it's time to go. You have outgrown this environment. And you will know this because when you're in that space or you're doing that thing, the pain of being in that space is so much more than the fear of the unknown, right? The pain of me being in the job that I had outgrown was so much more than the fear of taking the leap of faith to run my own business. And even recently this year, the pain of running my business, doing the things the way I've always done it, was so much more than the fear of taking 3 months off and seeing what happens. Okay, so your body will tell you, your intuition will whisper to you, it's time to go. It's time to move on. And the more you ignore it, the louder the sound becomes. Literally, the more you ignore it, the louder. It starts off as a whisper, and then it gets to the point where life hits you on the head as a huge wake up call. You never want to get to that point where life has to literally whack you on the head for you to wake up. But you will see the signs. You will feel it in your body. You will see the signs. Don't ignore the signs. Trust your intuition. Fear is just a negative thought of something in the future that has not happened yet. So, when your intuition is telling you it's time to go, even if you don't have the full clarity you need for your next step, still give yourself a chance. Okay, even if you don't know what everything is going to look like, even if you don't know what the full road ahead is going to look like, give yourself a chance. Okay, so when you see the signs, when you see the whisper, when random things begin to happen and you just know it's time for me to go, trust the timing of your life. Okay, trust what your intuition is telling you and take that leap of faith into the unknown, into the new thing that you feel is closer to your true authentic self. Okay. The pain of regret is so much worse than the pain of trying and seeing where things go. Even if it doesn't work out the way you thought it would work out, it doesn't matter. You learn something in the process, in the journey. So in those moments, don't overthink, don't over rationalize, don't try and convince yourself out of it. If your body is telling you, if your intuition is telling you, don't let your mind talk you out of it. No, your body is the closest thing to the truth. Your body knows the truth. Your body holds the truth inside of you, right? That's where your higher self is. That's where your soul, your spirit is, okay? Your mind is influenced by so many different things, right? So many different things going on in the world can influence your mind, but your body, your higher self knows the truth. So you have to trust that intuition and not over rationalize and overthink and talk yourself out of situations. Even if it's scary, even if it doesn't make sense. If your body's saying your time is up here, listen to it. You can never lose when you bet on yourself. Okay, that was my mantra. And that was the one push I needed to quit my job, realizing that I can never lose when I bet on myself. Okay, so now you've seen the signs of realizing that you've outgrown something, a job, an environment. So let's recap on the signs. Number one, your energy. It will, something that used to energize you and motivate you now drains you. So if you're realizing that this thing is draining you instead of giving you life, that's a sign you've outgrown the environment. If you're no longer learning, if you're no longer growing, taking in new information, and you're stuck in a loop of just doing things how they've always been done, you've outgrown your environment. If you have to shrink yourself to fit into certain spaces, right? If you have to shrink yourself to be accepted, you've outgrown that environment and you need to move on to somewhere where you can be accepted for the fullness of your true authentic self. If your values are no longer aligned with what you're doing, your value system has shifted, your priorities has shifted. What mattered to you before doesn't matter as much anymore, but you're still stuck doing those same things, it's time to move on. It's a sign you've outgrown. And then finally, if your intuition, if your body, your heart is telling you it's time to go, you feel like the walls are caving in and the pain of staying feels worse than the fear of the unknown, it's time to go. Okay, so you've seen all of those signs. Now, what do you do about it? The first step is to be very honest with yourself. It's okay to acknowledge that this situation, this job, this person, this business is no longer serving me, right? Because at the end of the day, your journey is about your becoming. It's not about the accolades. It's not about the success. It's not about the money or the salary. It's about becoming. It's about your evolution towards your higher self. So I am not my business. You are not your job. Okay? Your business, your job is a vessel for you to become your higher self. It is not who you are. All right. So when you separate yourself from your business or your job, you can then see, is this business serving me? I should not be a slave to my business. I should not be a servant to my business. The business exists to serve me first, not me, the business. And of course, by serving me, I then go on to serve my community, my clients, all of those things, my customers, right? So you should not be a slave to your business. You should not be a slave to your job. Your job should be serving you. Your business should be serving you in the sense that it is taking you closer to the evolution of your higher self. Okay, so you want to get really radically honest with yourself and really ask yourself, like, does this situation still serve the person I want to become? It's a tough question to ask yourself, but you have to be honest. If the answer is no, it's no longer serving you, okay? Then you have to look at what's working, what's not working. We have to filter it out, okay? And we have to let go of what's no longer working and try new things and experiment. And sometimes that comes with a big pause. That sometimes comes walking away, right? Some people can navigate both, but some people just have to stop everything and rethink the situation for more clarity. And that's what I had to do. So be honest with yourself, right? Acknowledge where you are. Acknowledge you're in this tension point where you feel like you've outgrown the situation, because that alone will give you peace. There's no point being in denial about it. Acknowledge where you are and then allow yourself to examine what's working for me, what's not working for me, and how can I then let go of what's no longer working for me. You've got to learn to redefine success and boldness. Okay. Boldness isn't always about doing more, showing up more, going the extra mile. Yes, part of boldness is that, but boldness can also be letting go. Boldness can also be walking away. That's also bold. So don't feel like you failed because you've outgrown an environment. That's not failure. It also requires confidence to take a step out of that environment you feel like you've outgrown. It requires confidence to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, this no longer serves me. What are you going to do about it? Are you just going to stay stuck? Or are you going to remember that you are the author of your life? You are the captain of your ship. So, how are you writing your story? Are you going to be that person who is outgrown the environment and that's where your story ends? Or are you going to start a new adventure, right? Where you're going to grow and where you're going to learn. So boldness isn't always about doing more. Confidence, boldness is also about doing less, letting go. What do you need to say no to so you can say yes to your higher self? I want that to sit with you for a second. What do you need to say no to so you can say yes to your higher self? And remember, there is more to you than the work. There's more to you than the environment. So don't feel like if you walk away from something, you're losing yourself or you're letting go of yourself. No, you are going to become another version of yourself in that new chapter when you walk away. When you close one door, you begin another journey, and that is a continuous of your evolution. You're not failing. You're not losing yourself or losing your identity. Okay, so let's reframe walking away from situations and outgrowing situations as something that can be empowering because it's taking us to our next level. So you're going to have to take a leap of faith. You're going to have to do something that is scary. But remember, fear is just a negative thought of something in the future that has not happened yet. So when I paused for 4 months, it felt scary. I didn't even know the pause was going to be for 4 months. I just said, I cannot carry on like this. I'm stopping everything. I didn't even make an announcement because I didn't even know how long I was going to be gone for. But in the quiet, I was able to restore myself. I was able to get clarity on who I wanted to be, on how I wanted to show up. I was able to build systems and processes that would allow me to have a business that aligns with my priorities. Okay, this is everything I was able to do in the break. So decide how you want things to be moving forward, because sometimes you have to let go in order to carve a new path. You cannot be carving a new path while looking in the opposite direction. Okay? So when you let go, you carve your new path and you move in that direction and you figure things out as you go along. So the question I want to leave with you today, 2 questions. What do you need to say no to so you can say yes to yourself? Okay, what do you need to say no to so you can say yes to yourself? And then what do you need to let go of? What bold move are you going to make that requires letting go of something? Okay, we're redefining boldness. Not every time add more, do more. Sometimes do less. So, what do you need to do less of as your bold move, as your act of boldness? What are you going to do less of? What are you going to let go of or do less of as an act of boldness? Okay, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for listening and being here on the podcast. We are back and back consistently, okay? Bringing you episodes on confidence, on mindset, on career, on love, life, money, everything to help you become the best version of yourself. If you have any ideas of topics you want to talk about or share with me, please put it in the comment section. Remember to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and follow if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and share this episode with a friend. If it helped you as well, please let me know in the comment section. I'm always really excited, and your comments mean so much to me when I read them and know that the work that I'm doing helps you. Okay, so thank you all so much for listening. Love you all. And until next time, stay confident and killing it.